Hey, it's Edison here. I wanted to go over a CGC Bulk submission I got back and kind of give my thoughts about how they're grading and any updates on there. Sorry, the intros have gotten quite lackluster. I will be honest, I kind of don't, I ran out of words to rhyme my name with. So if you do have any suggestions for that, let me know. But I'm still sticking with grading cards. I might send out another submission to CGC. P.S.A. has gotten cheaper, so has BGS. So there are more options now for alternatives to CGC. But there is a reason I graded this stuff, and we'll kind of talk about it as we go through it. But I did break this up, I broke down this submission already into errors to go over. So we're going to start with EX stuff. Lapras EX and a 9. If you ended up seeing my Collecticon video, this is one of the cards that I got at Collecticon. But this was, it looked really, really sharp in the case. So when I took it out, I inspected it. One thing you have to note for if you're buying EX cards raw is the backs can look, sharp, immaculate, but you have so much hollow foil that's super sensitive on the front to look out for. And especially on the e-readers, you have a bigger section. Swapper EX8. This one, a lot of these like this, I was purchasing that like a light play to near mint condition. I think this one was more light play in general. I haven't wiped any of these off. But there is like a little bit of light edge wear. I think there was something else I noticed with this one. Besides edge wear, I think it's scratched as well. But this isn't just I obviously wanted a little bit higher on this type of a card, but this is also just a great card to have. A starter from the era e-reader board, if you're like going for it. EXT Magma is a great set to purchase and look for cards from. So I'll take the 8. That might be a little bit on the lower end of what I was expecting, because I think I bought 3 cards from the seller. I don't think this was from that same seller. This might be from somewhere else. But these, just look at these cards. They look so nice. The e-reader, the EX Ruby Sapphire stuff with the e-reader border and a 9 are just great pickups. And I apologize if I sound out of breath. I record all these videos right next to a window, and the sun is currently shining directly in my face. And I'm sweating quite a bit. Next, we have my Cargo EX. So we got a couple of 9s. Yeah, so the price ranges a lot on these. You can pretty much get like near mint raw copies of like the rest of the lesser popular Pokemon like Macargo and Magmar for pretty much the light play price of higher end or more popular stuff like Lapras. But I'll still pick them up. This one was a little bit rough. Wailord EX. I purchased this light play and it looked really nice. I thought this one had a really high shot of being close to a 9. Because the only real issue I noticed, like if you look at the back, that's a clean back. I think there is, like there's one dot there where it looks like ink is missing, which I kind of thought was a factory error. So CGC might go light on it. But I will have to inspect it. All these other cards were like either at the level that I had pre-graded them or a little bit higher than what I would have personally given them. But this is one of the ones that just stands out to me as feeling a little bit low compared to the rest. And I would say Wailord, you're kind of on the less popular end. Mewtwo EX, this one was incredibly rough, but you send this in because it is a Mewtwo. I think to close it off, the grades are really solid. This was sold to me, I believe, as a light play copy. Yeah, I think this was light play. This was sold to me as light play. It came back 8.5. I think this one was light play, but this one was definitely more obviously light play. It was, I remember the Mewtwo and this were the roughest condition, has pretty substantial edge wear. I guess this is an even better comparison if you compare the Wailord and this Ho-Oh, just how much worse that Ho-Oh is on the left. Oh my god, it's kind of gross. It's so hot. I'm sweating on these slabs just holding them. But yeah, maybe there's something I didn't notice. Maybe it's super scratched. Yeah, okay, the Wailord's pretty scratched on the front. Yeah, so this was the EX cards I sent in. These are kind of like the nicer light play stuff. I still have a pretty big pile of EXs to send in from that I purchased at Collecticon, but these were like the ones that I thought would either get the best grades or had the most value post grading, so I sent those in first. And then the following stuff is a lot of like pretty much I grouped a lot of the stuff that comes after this. So it's going to be, I think, Diamond and Pearl, the Heart Gold, Soul Silver cards. First off, we have Gengar Level X from Arceus. This is just a classic. Beautiful art. And again, these were all purchased as light play. So what I had done going into these with the level X's is, I meant to touch on this too. A lot of those EXs that I was purchasing as light play, the reason I was making such a big purchase, making like moves on buying them in that condition, was I from what I had noticed, CGC was giving a lot of the cards that I was grading light play from that era around 8 to 8.5. So people were selling them at like a 6 or 7 price for light play, and in return you end up getting an 8.85 graded. I was kind of going into it assuming that the level X's would be graded at a similar level, but like this, for example, I think could be a little bit higher if it was an EX, but it came back to 7. And like again, this could just be hearsay. I could just have bad frame of reference of how this stuff should be graded, but that was my general feeling when I looked at the grades of this return, that some of these would grade a little bit higher if they're from EXs. And I don't really know if that's how it's supposed to be, if they're supposed to have subjective, like, differentiating opinions. And again, there is range, I suppose, within a light play category. Some of these were stronger than others. The Raichu and Gengar I knew going into it were just rougher, but they are more popular, so it makes sense. And for example, this Infernape, I bought it light play as well. It comes back at 8.5. I believe this was sold as near mint and it came back at 8.5. So, I mean, I paid the price for this. I don't remember. One of these are, I think I graded 2. One was the light play, one was near mint. Dialga, I think all of these were sold as light play. But yeah, I think in general, if you were at a convention, this is what I really like doing. When I see stuff from this era, I always inspect the backs, and I feel like you can really get good bargains on this stuff raw. You just have to know. And this is why I kind of do the videos for maybe other people to see. But this is why I grade so much like variety, is to get a good idea of how certain cards are treated and the allowable defects for certain things. 7.5. Yeah, and this is a rough one, obviously, but I think I sent this in right after I saw like a PWCC auction for a 6 go for like well over the light play raw price. So I decided to send that in. This is just a banger. Kind of similar to the Darkrai level X. I mean, pretty much all of these. The Gengar, the Darkrai, the Charizard, these are just the fan favorites. These are the ones that, if you're going to collect level X, just go for these. These are just so good. I like my EXs a lot, especially the e-reader stuff. But looking at the English level X, because I've mostly only had these in Japanese, these are sick cards. And this was really the era I collected. This was like, I was super into the game at this point. And I really fell in love with the cards at this point, because this is when I was in elementary school and everyone was collecting it. 8.5 Snorlax. This is a sick card. That's a cool one too in Japanese. It's you've probably seen it either on my channel or other people have talked about it. It's a really nice Domino's pizza promo. This card, when I was buying these, I was given a sheet with all the cards at TCG player prices and the conditions listed. So I saw like the bulk price that I was paying on everything, so I accepted it. I then have, since I got this return back, I went into the actual sheet and I saw how much I paid for this Leafeon. I did not realize this card was over $150 raw for LP, which is shocking to me. And then I searched what they go for graded, and I saw like an 8 is around like a $350, $400 card, and just shocked. These are sick. These this Charizard and Rayquaza I probably like more than the regular set ones. The English promos, like this Darkrai, are probably the best arts. I think all of these might be English exclusive as well. I think the tin promos are only done in English. Sorry if that came out weird. But I could have swore this was a Japanese card as well. Yeah, these are sick. You can see this is a range. I keep repeating light play, and I know it can be annoying. But this is the range of what I was sending in. Obviously, again, it ranges. There is some variance on what people. It's obviously a very broad term, and that's why you do get these cards graded, is to kind of lock in a certain grade. But all of this stuff is being sold, and I think if you go into like a local convention, you would see a similar thing where you have this pretty vast range of stuff being sold as light play, and it's ranging from 7 to 8.5. This is just a random card. This is a Clefairy Indonesian promo. I bought this a while ago. I forgot even how much I paid for it, but it's just like a random pre-release promo, but it's good artwork. God of War, Dark Explorers. This is if you're ever curious about these types of shinies, The ones that have the yellow borders in English are the rarer versions. Now, for example, they come out with these a little bit later on. These are also shiny, but when they have this hollow foil border, I think they increase the seed rate. So if you want to purchase these, if you're at a convention, I would definitely just look for the hollow foil borders. And let's roll these up together because it's technically a set. Palkia and Dialga Legend pieces. These were super clean. I thought both of these would have a chance at a 9, like 859. And I think this is like the worst outcome is you have such a big difference of grade 9 to an 8. Maybe it's a little bit tougher to sell as a set. Yeah, I really do think because they graded so different. If these were both 9s or both 8s, I would just sell them as one thing. But because they had 2 separate grades, I think I'll just sell them as separate listings. And then if someone wants, they can like bundle and offer them both. And then finally of this era, this is technically EX, I guess. Power Keepers, Delcatty. Probably not a card you really want to grade in at 8.5. Yeah, it's... The thing that I note with this stuff is the EX era has really soft corners on the cards. So you'll have like a color fading or color loss where it transitions to light blue and white a lot sooner. And I think that reason, for that reason, a lot of this stuff gets kind of undergraded when it's being sold. And I don't quote me on this, I might be wrong, but I think CGC takes into account the manufacturing process and like that little variation of the card stock quality for cards and has like a little bit of subjectivity. I have one last stack of English that I want to run through from this submission. And I'll talk a little bit about the turnaround times. They've gotten a little bit slower at receiving packages. I think this submission took 2 weeks to be scanned in as received. But, I mean, that's how it was for so long. It used to take like 2 months to get scanned in as received. These are all errors as well. That's why I graded them. Just severe miscuts. And this submission took 2 weeks to get scanned in. Sorry for the tangent. But I think it was graded in less than a week. So still under that 1 month turnaround. And I kind of like this system of sending like 50 to 100 cards in at once. It's more affordable. But the fast turnaround just gets new inventory kind of loaded into the store. And this is like, sorry to just throw this in randomly. This is definitely a more expensive card, Typhlosion from Neo Genesis First Edition. Immaculate back. When I purchased this is a beautiful back of a WOTC card. I didn't see any white spots, no edge wear. It looked sharp. I really thought that this had a chance at, if you look at the back, I think you do have a chance at least a 9 to a 10. The front was nice too, but there is pretty moderate, like hollow, what do they call them? Hollow, like print lines throughout the hollow foil, and then scratching. And for that reason, I was contemplating sending this to P.S.A. or CGC. I just know that P.S.A. can sometimes be incredibly tough on those print lines. So I decided at a bulk rate, I might as well get it graded with CGC first. And I'll throw this up for sale. And if it doesn't sell after X amount of time, I might crack it out and send it to P.S.A. But I think 8.5 is pretty fair considering the amount of print lines and scratches I noticed. And then I think the rest should all be Japanese. We can go through this stuff pretty quick because it's a lot of bulk stuff that you've seen me grade in the past. I was surprised. I don't think I got any 10s in this submission. This is a pretty cool one. I've graded this. I think it comes in hollow as well, but I picked this up at a convention. And the reverses are just tougher to find. The reverse rares especially are tougher to find, and especially in high grade because these cards are not built to be like super durable, so they do pick up scratches quite easy. Lucario from Diamond and Pearl base. I think some of these are cards that I had sold out of, and that there seemed to be enough interest on to kind of send in more to get graded. This you probably aren't too happy to see. I know I picked this up in person. Maybe I probably sent this in just expecting a near mint plus, like an 8.5 to a 9. We'll have to see on what that goes for. 9 in the Quagsire, just good artwork. I think I graded one of these in a 6.5, and I've kind of redeemed it. Pulling out the 9.5. Oh yeah, I had mentioned I don't think I got a single 10 in this sub. I'll have to go through. Obviously, a lot of this stuff too is also older. Like, I'm not expecting all the EXs and level Xs. I was expecting lower grades. But some of this Japanese stuff, I think I was hoping to maybe pull at least more 9.5s to 10s. But I guess it's not too modern. Like, this would have been a sick card to get a 10 in. This Espeon for Reviving Legends. This is just a great artwork. Umbreon and Espeon from this set are really stellar. Keep going. And this is another one. Like, you probably don't want to see this card in an 8. You know, you're probably not doing yourself any favors. But one of the benefits is Cresselia and Leafeon are popular enough, and these are obscure enough cards that not many other people, I don't think, have graded them. So you have a little bit of, you have power when you're selling, because it's kind of like you're one of the only options to get it graded by, to buy a graded copy from. There's quite a few. Oh, these aren't English. I remember these are Indonesian. I purchased these with that Indonesian Clefairy, but these are just like the Indonesian Shining Legends cards. 9-5 Rayquaza, 9 Mew, 9-5 Mew. Yeah, these, as a quick tangent, I purchased these all from the same vendor, I think like in January now. It's been a while since I bought these. And I'm just trying to think. I bought them all as near mint, and when I actually got home and looked at them, I remember the Lugias, which is the one I really wanted to grade, because, you know, Lugia is popular and it's a pretty expensive card in English. They were just rough, man. They were so rough. So I ended up selling them raw to just, you know, lose a little bit of money on them, but to recoup my cost in. And these are the nice ones that I graded. There's a sick card, the Arceus from the movie promo pack. Like, I don't even remember when I got that. This is just weird. I don't know why I sent this in. Galactic Conquest re-release campaign. So like a promo card for Galactic Conquest set. Like CGC 8 and a random Rotom. It's really stupid to get graded. This is pretty bad too. This is pretty shitty. 7-5 in the Reverse Worlds Giratina. Like, this is a sick card with the holofoil border. These are really cool. But like 7-5 is, these are not grades that you want. This is good. We'll build up like a little bit of an L pile. And then Blastoise. This set was pretty good. A nice variance. Definitely the stuff that graded low. It's just stupid on my part. Just looking over that Giratina, it honestly doesn't look bad. I'm wondering if it just has really bad scratching on the back that I didn't notice. But we'll wrap this up quickly with my last pile. A couple more English cards, actually. Oh, and this is like another card. Like, why the hell did I grade this? I probably did not expect it to get an 8. It's super off-center, but I didn't think it was that bad. I guess it's pretty shifted. Wait, that's not a grid you want. You might as well just crack that out and send it raw. Sell it raw. Empoleon V. I think these were all from that convention in January I went to. Poliwrath, Shadowless. These are good cards that are fine to get in like a 7-5-8. Just Shadowless Hollows. Magneton. I think the last one is Hitmonchan. These are good in that grade, just because of their age. And then all things considered, WOTC seem to come down quite a bit in price, but some of this stuff is still holding pretty strong. Shadowless is still doing pretty decent for me. In the last 3 or 2 cards, the Shaman EX, a really beautiful card. It's from Radiant Collection English. This Japanese Shiny Collection one is sick. I really do have to take better spreadsheets, but when you buy stuff in like here and there from people at a show, I find it really hard to keep track of how much I'm paying per item, which is super bad, especially for tax reasons. But like, I just have piles of raw singles that I don't even remember what I paid for at this point. I have some invoices from like stores that I bought from, but it gets super messy. So if you have a good system that you want to recommend me, let me know. And to wrap it up, CGC 9 in this Dusknoir Battle Road Spring Qualifier. This is a pretty cool promo from what I remember on Bulbapedia. There's not too many graded, I don't think, but they're really cheap raw. So I think I just sent this in hoping that because of like that, once you have some of these cards, when you just see it as like Diamond and Pearl promo in the bottom right-hand corner, it doesn't really do much for it. But when you throw it in a case and the case itself explains what the card is and what event you were awarded it from, it seems to do a little bit better. It feels like a more legitimate collectible. Has a little bit more collectivity in that regard. But yeah, that's it. That was the CGC return. Only 67 cards overall. It took like 3.5 weeks to get back to me. So still pretty short. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to keep sending in around this level, 50 to 100 cards every month to CGC. Because the stuff still sells pretty well. The grades have been pretty fair. And the turnaround time is fast. That's the most important thing. And if you want to hear my 2 favorite cards that I got back, I think I'll start doing this, like just talk about the stuff that I liked from my return. The first one is this T17 First Edition. It's the first one I've had. It's just a cool card. You know, this was an extremely expensive card at the peak hype. Really just nice artwork. So I'm happy that I got this. Solid grade. And then definitely the level X's in general, I'm really happy to see them encapsulated. The art is so sick. But this one especially, I just love this Charizard. I think all of them look good. It's probably a tie for me between the Charizard and Gengar level X I got. Alright, thanks for watching, and as always, have a nice one, guys. Bye.